Namaste, friends. Welcome to this practice. I'm so glad you're joining me today. So I created this video for us today because we see a lot of yoga videos out there that approach our yoga practice from a place of something needs to be worked on, fixed, this body part hurts, I'm stressed, I don't feel good, which those are all fantastic reasons to do a yoga practice, but some days we wake up and we feel really good in our bodies. In fact, I hope you're waking up most days feeling good in your bodies. And so let's let our yoga practice be a celebration today. And you know, if you aren't feeling great in your body, you can still do this practice. You're still going to get the benefits, but just that little mind shift sometimes that is really important. You know, we need to balance things out and not always look at our yoga practice as something to fix us or that we need fixing at all. Let's let this practice be a celebration of being in our body, feeling good perhaps, or if we're not feeling good in this moment, that we can look forward to feeling better at the end of this practice. So again, thank you for joining me. So find your comfortable seat. Today I've chosen a modified Hero's Pose Virasana. I'm actually sitting on the lowest level of one of my foam blocks, as you can see here. You can also stack, so you could put another block right on top of that if this height doesn't feel right for you, if your hips and knees still feel a little tight. If your knees don't like where you're sitting, you can also pad here with your rolled over mat or even a blanket, whatever you have. And if you get into this pose and you decide, I don't like Virasana, it's okay. You can switch to just a simple cross-legged position. I want you to be comfortable here. Again, if we're using the intention of celebrating being in our body today, let's not start practice with an uncomfortable seat, right? I want you to be nice and comfortable. And by the way, Lilu is here helping me get started today. So, all right, my friends, let's begin by closing the eyes very gently. Imagine your eyelids like two little flower petals, just barely touching. So no pressure on the eye. And letting that softness in the eyes sort of fan out, radiate out into the rest of the face, softening those cheeks. Putting a little bit of space between those back teeth. Swallow to relax the throat, and then let the tongue also relax heavy in the bottom of your mouth. And maybe a natural breath finds its way in and out in a big sigh. And that's good. Maybe another one would feel good. Just breathing in, sighing out the exhale. As we begin to go deeper, we just start to pick up on things in the body. Are the shoulders tight and scrunched up? If so, relax them back and down as if a friend has come up behind you and just gently guided your shoulders down. And with that movement, we sort of feel a natural openness and lift in the chest and heart. If you're joining me in this modified Hero's Pose, you may want to send your awareness on down, making sure that belly is pulled in a little, and then just aware of the feet here. So we're kind of spreading the toes and gently pushing the tops of the feet into the mat, so we bring awareness to the legs as well. Bringing awareness from head to toe. And if you're in that simple cross-legged position, you can do the same thing. You can bring awareness to the feet and legs, still pulling the belly in, sitting tall. Let's engage with our breath, that smooth, beautiful, soothing, relaxing yoga breath in through the nose and out through the nose. The exhale may be a count or two longer than the inhale. So let's breathe together for a moment. See if you can tune into the sound of your breath. It's that soft, ocean-like sound, a soft little hiss of air. So if you're feeling like you want to take the breath a little deeper, I always suggest taking the palms to the low ribs as a guide, right? Just as a guide, they're just resting there, no pressure. And as we invite the breath in deeper, we want to focus on expanding the rib cage, the torso, out in all directions like a concentric circle. And as we exhale, we feel the ribs knit back together. And inhale, expand out. So I don't want to cue your breath here, as we all breathe with different volumes of inhales and exhales, so follow your own breath. Good. Maybe you have the hang of this breath already. You can let the hands relax to the legs. Take a couple more deep breaths, just like that. Expanding out with that in-breath and contracting in with the out-breath. Seems a little backwards, I know. Good. One more breath. And then as we let go of that next breath, just sort of inhale and open the eyes, come back to the room we're in. A quick awareness scan here of the face and the muscles, all still soft and relaxed. We're going to take it easy peasy here as we begin and take the arms out to the sides. It's like we're sitting in the inside of a big bubble. And I want you to trace your fingertips along the curve of that bubble as you inhale, reach long, like you're going to catch a big ball here at the top. And then turn the palms away, reach long, exhale, let your neck join this movement, look down, fingertips graze the mat, repeat, inhale, lift, look up, and exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale, lift. We'll pause at the top. I want you to keep reaching like you're touching the top of that bubble. However, I also want you to plug your shoulders into your socket so that we're not scrunching our ears. That's where the arm bone wants to be. It wants to be in that shoulder socket. Okay. So we're going to bring the palms together and then gather the fingers together. So making that collective fist here. And just squeeze. So try to, like, we're squeezing the arms towards the head, but we're also squeezing the hands and fingers together. Release that, and then flip your palms, press them up to the ceiling. Feel like you're cracking your knuckles. Keep the shoulders down, and then start that forward rotation. And each time that you rotate, the arms come down, and down, and down, and down, and we're looking eventually at our fingers. And again, we're doing a nice pretend crack of the knuckles away as we round the spine, that C-shaped in the spine, like you're pushing the spine towards the wall behind you. And then come on back. And let's take a couple rotations in the reverse direction to get the arms back up to the ceiling. Push through one more time. Let the fingers gently separate, and then left arm floats front, right arm floats back. Wherever they land is the right spot. Use that connection to twist and just gently, simply, easily glance front to the right shoulder. And inhale, let's come up, reach. Exhale, twist other side. Keep breathing. If you ever need a reminder Just look over here at my little print. You can see it. It says inhale, exhale. Good. Inhale. Arms lift. And then turn the palms out again like you're in that bubble. Reach long. Take the arms down. And give the shoulders a couple big old rolls here. Heating up the upper body here systematically. Good. Couple rolls and then a couple little shoulder jogs. And you can make the sound if you want. And then we're going to do 3 little squeezes and releases. So inhale, squeeze the shoulders up towards your ears like, oh, you're at your desk and you're really tight and stressed. And then just exhale, let it go. Another one, inhale, squeeze, you're holding your steering wheel and someone just cut you off, you're super pissed off. Exhale, release it. And a third one, inhale, squeeze, insert your own stressful life event here. And then another little jog of the shoulders. Good. So hopefully that will encourage you, maybe imprint in your brain next time you're having a stressful moment to just exhale, don't stress, exhale, release the shoulders, let it go. All right, back in our bubble here, we're gonna lift the arms to a T, fold the fingertips in to touch the shoulders, keep your elbows lifting, don't let them sag, keep them up, and if you are looking directly forward right now and you cannot see your elbows, bring them in so that you can see them in your periphery, and start making some little circles with your elbows. And get bigger and bigger until we've got big old chicken wings here, okay? And then stay in that large circle, but reverse it. And then smaller and smaller until we're back to stillness with the elbows lifted and in our peripheral. And then we're gonna take the elbows to the center, let them kiss right in the middle and keep them lifted. So I want you to notice in this position where your shoulder blades are. They have spread wide to the sides of your back. And as you open, the shoulder blades come together. I want you to really, now you can take your elbows out of your periphery as you squeeze the shoulder blades together. Let's do it again. Inhale, bring them together. Smooch right in the center and squeeze them wide. Good, bring the elbows back to periphery, unfold the fingertips and let the arms down. If you are on a block or a prop of some kind, come off of it, set it to your side, and let's come into our tabletop position and find some freedom here. I want you to move however you want to move. So you can make some little circles, which is great for a wrist warm-up. And if you tuck the toes, it also becomes a stretch for your tootsies and the bottom of your feet, which as we all know are super important in yoga. Good, and then after you've kind of done your thing here, maybe even let your hips go to the side. Good, find some freedom and then join me back in stillness here. Active table, gaze falls between the hands. Hands are flat, fingers are wide, so there's no puckering really. There's maybe a little bit of lift in the center of your palm, but I want you to stay active through especially finger pads. And then if you are like me and you lock those elbows, soften the joint, and I want you to feel your upper arm bones rotating in so the eyes of your elbows start to shine towards one another. So you can already feel a little more activity there. Let's go through a couple cat-cows, and again, I have started to cue people's breath less in this pose because I'll see people whip through it because they really want to stay with the cue instead of listening to their breath. And part of yoga is learning to listen to your own body, not just the teacher. But I do encourage you in this pose as well to find some freedom. So again, holding the cat or holding the cow, if one of those feels really therapeutic, and maybe they both just feel like super awesome. We're celebrating being in our bodies today. So maybe smile and be grateful for the body we have today. Good. Finish up where you are and then return to your table, but make sure you've got some space in front of you. and you're going to pick up those palms, walk them forward. Again with that same activation. Finger pads, upper arm bones rotating in. As you inhale, shift forward, and exhale as one unit, come all the way down. When you get there, like someone's behind you gently pulling your big toes, you can have some space between the legs. Go ahead and take the forehead down, look into your heart space. Now, hands can be anywhere from shoulder, underneath shoulders to a little further up or a little wider. Cobra kind of takes all kinds here, so I want you to be mindful as you inhale. Think about shining your sternum forward first, and then let the head lift a little and just look forward. Good. Hold. Hello, lower back. Try not to squeeze your butt too much here. Exhale, lower down. Go right back to forehead resting on mat. You can re-reach your legs. Inhale. Breathe. Soften, no tension in the face. Good. Exhale, lower down. Might be feeling some strength, some heat come into those arms. One last time, any cobra you desire. Maybe you can get a little higher on this third one, and it's okay if you're not. There is nothing wrong with your body. Good. So I want you to lower kind of like halfway down and come to your forearms for our Sphinx. Forearms like the number 11, so they are parallel, palms are still flat. And in fact, you can pretend like you're tearing your mat apart, which is a nice way to engage. Legs are reaching back. In this one, there's no movement, right? We're just holding this posture and having a little conversation with our lumbar spine, our low back. How's it feeling? You can gently push the pubic bone down. Helps release tension and stay engaged. Good. Give me 2 more breaths. And as we relax here, upper body comes back to the ground, hands move back to that under shoulder-ish position, toes tuck, coming up and back, reach, make this first child's pose active. So I want you to walk those fingertips towards the short edge and really think about long, Gumby arms here as the forehead stretches to the mat, or lowers to the mat, I should say. And if your legs are in that little V shape, they're a little separated, your ribs might be resting right on your thighs, and as you breathe in, you can feel that yoga breath, right? We're breathing those concentric circles where the torso expands out like a balloon. You can feel your breath moving into your legs. So let's relax the arms now. So lose that tension, maybe pull them back a little towards you and melt more towards the mat. Deep breath in. Slow release of your exhale. Do another one. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. And on our next in-breath, we're going to pull ourselves out of this child's pose. Good. Back to active table with those active animal paws. Toes tucking. And I want you to just pick up the knees and hover. Knees are just hovering right off the mat. Hello, core. So remember, we're in a little slight pelvic tuck here. Those upper arm bones still rotating in. Step left leg back, right leg back. Hello, plank. Make sure those hips aren't piking up to down dog. Make sure that they're in line or slightly lower than your rib cage. And then left knee down, right knee down. Breathe. Inhale, toes tuck, knees lift. You gotta engage with those finger pads. Good. Step the left leg back, right leg back, plank. And then inhale, now the hips lift. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And again, find some freedom, yogi's choice, leaning to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. I feel like I was singing a song just then. Pedaling the feet coming up onto the balls of your feet, right? And then trying to lower the heels towards the mat and trying that again and again. Walking as wide as your mat, nice deep squat. These are all options. You don't have to do any of this. But as you finish up what you're doing and settle into steady down dog, again, revisit your hands, make sure they're strong. Hips shift back, spine lengthens. Head is just hanging here, guys. No tension in the head. Feeling of upper arm bones rotating in. Look at the eyes of your elbows. Are they shining towards each other? They should be. Now, I've heard various things on that, so don't come at me with my teacher says. I've heard a lot of things, and it just depends on your body. This is how it's been working for me recently. This is how a lot of my teachers have been teaching it. It might feel better for your anatomy, for the eyes of your elbows to point more towards opposite corners of the mat, and that is okay. That is okay. Okay, we're all okay. We're going to come into Warrior A. So step the left foot in a little more towards center, behind, like keep it where it is at the back of your mat, but step it more center. Lift your right leg up, 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 three-legged dog. Keep the shoulders square. Let the hip open as you let that knee bend. And then as we exhale, so there's a squeezing sensation in that right leg. I want you to keep it as you return the hips to square, shift to plank, and the right foot steps between the hands. Spin the back heel down, rise up. We once again are greeting our low back here with this back bend. We don't often think of Warrior A as a back bend, but it is. Breathe. Then I want you to spin that back heel up, so subtle change from Warrior A to high lunge. We're in this high lunge position. On your exhale, sink that back knee down. Let the hands graze frame your right foot. And as you inhale, let the right arm open up for this low lunge twist. So you can feel what's happening in the supporting arm. All the weight is sort of driving into this arm. And again, the upper arm bone is rotating in. Good. If you want to pick up the knee, see how that feels. Stretch the heel back. Good. Exhale. Bring the right hand back down. We're going to crawl back into that halfway split. So rocking back on the heel, and I'm being super chill with this because I still have a hamstring boo-boo. So I'm not folding, you know, I don't need to stretch my hamstring anymore, but I understand that many of you do. Hamstrings get tight, we sit a lot. I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to strengthen some things, muscles around the hips, so I just take it real easy on this stretch. You might want to fold. You may need that intense stretch as long as you're doing it safely and it's not sort of an intense pulling. Crawl forward again. Step back to downward facing dog, please. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Realign here. Right foot steps a little more to the center as we inhale the left leg up. And squeeze as we bend the left knee. So that left leg feels heavy and engaged. Like we've got a boulder. Our left leg is heavy here. That might not have been the best metaphor. Let's just imagine our left leg is heavy so that we come through with control. Step that foot down, back heel down. Inhale, come on up, Warrior A. Let's hang out here. So what I want you to think about in this pose, again, is that back bend. The left leg is bending to 90 degrees. The back leg is opening. Those hips are always going to turn out in Warrior A. So we want the hips to be comfortable here. It's the upper body, mostly your floating upper ribs, that we want to be more square to the front of the mat. Right? You think about that movement of sort of wringing out of body parts moving in opposite directions. Good. Spin the heel up. Anjaneyasana. Exhale, knee comes down. And bow the hands down. Right palm plants as we inhale. Open wide. So the tendency is to always think about the arm that's lifting, right? Because it's the arm we're looking at, and we forget the leg because we're not looking at it. We forget about this arm down here because we're not looking at it. That's where I want your awareness to be. Planting that right palm, not locking elbow, rotating upper arm bone in, and don't let that back leg go slack. Keep it strong. Exhale. Float down. Walk it back into your half splits. This one I can feel the need for a little more of a fold. We're still active though, meaning that this leg is squeezing. We're squeezing that quadricep. Good. Crawl forward. Plant the hands. Come on back to downward facing dog. Look forward and then walk forward. When your feet get up to your hands, separate the feet nice and wide. And then really give yourself a deep bend here. Every time I do this, I feel a couple cervical vertebrae kind of pop and release. It's always nice. That might not happen with you. So give the head and neck a little shake here as you hold elbows and then sway. And breathe. No tension in the neck, not holding it. Good. Back to center. Press your palms into your shins, straighten the legs. Turtle here, sticking our head out of our shell. Shoulders away from ears. And then let the arms travel up the legs and then lift into the air and hold them there. I'm going to turn to face you. So if your feet are still wide, maybe bring them a little more hip distance, please. Make a bracelet. Sorry, you can't see me fully, but you can visualize what I'm doing. I am making a bracelet around my left wrist with my right fingers, and then I'm going to encourage that arm to lift and then lean to the right. Hips shift to the left, we're leaning to the right. And then inhale, come up. Bracelet on the other side, lengthen first. Exhale as you shift the hips to the right and lean to the left. Kind of looking up and under that that right armpit. Inhale, come up. Awesome, arms down to the sides. Let's go in to 2 balance poses. Let's start with our tree pose, our Virasana. We start with both legs together as our proverbial tree trunk here. All right, go ahead and pick up all 10 toes, spread them wide, set them down like you're growing roots like a real tree. Legs are strong. We can start with the hands in Namaste. Thumbs pressing into the sternum pressing back. So already we're in alignment, ready to go. So think about this while we're in tree, and I'll remind you in some other poses too if I remember, that we're always trying to find the principles of Tadasana in every yoga pose. We're trying not to stray from the principles of neutral, right? Too far from the principles of neutral, what we're achieving in Tadasana here. So let's start on the right leg. Let's open it out to the side, turn the toe out, and then bring it back with that leg still turned out. Coming up to your comfort level. If you're an inner thigh person, just make sure that you help the leg get up there and that this does not cause strain for your knee. Now, if you've planted that foot flat on the leg, the other leg has to work to push against it, and that opposition of energies helps lift you and keep you engaged. And then using your breath, hands like a little rocket ship here, take off and go all the way up. I'm mixing my metaphors again. It's tree pose and I'm using a rocket metaphor. Your branches lift, okay? Squeeze your biceps towards your head. So again, I'm cut off here, but you can do the Steeple Mudra where you interlace your fingers all but your index, squeezing the sides of your head and reaching. This is optional. It's a progression in the pose. So you could also keep your hands in Namaste. Breathe. Good. Exhale. Branches come down first. Hold your gaze. Starts to feel like Charlie's Angels Mudra here with our fingertips out. Okay. And then if your foot is on that inner thigh, I always like to disengage with my hand and let that foot come back. And then sometimes I offer, if you're feeling stiff, to bend the knees out, but a lot of people go kind of crazy on their mat and like we stray really far from like staying focused and present. So try not to do that. Let's stay present and focused and go right into the other side. So again, hands in Namaste to start. Left toes turn out and come in and climb up that leg to your comfort level. Foot into thigh into foot if that's where you've got it. And I want you to notice, again, it's helpful when you're in a yoga pose, notice where your attention wants to go. It's often where it doesn't need to be. So in this pose, we're like thinking, oh my God, my left leg, my foot. Where your attention needs to be is the standing leg, because that is the leg that's keeping you balanced. In fact, you can feel that right foot rolling from side to side, and that's what it is intended to do. It's a beautiful way to strengthen our feet. Okay, I'm super chatty today, guys. Inhale, lifting the branches up, 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 up. Remember, shoulders stay plugged in to the socket. Take your mudra, if you want to point the fingertips up and squeeze your biceps, the sides of the head. Feeling just like one long, amazing line of energy here. Like you don't even have a body. You're just pure breath and energy today. Think about all those beautiful fall trees out there today. Or maybe if you're watching this at a different season, maybe it's the beautiful spring foliage. All right, exhale. Branches come down, Charlie's Angels. Releasing that foot back to the ground. Don't go crazy here. A little bend will do, spreading the toes, and we come right back to mountain pose, nice and strong. Right into our eagle pose. For this, I'm going to offer a modification with your yoga block or whatever you got handy. I like the block on its lowest level to start beside the left foot. Beside my right foot. And if you get into this and decide you don't like it, you can easily kick it out of the way. So the legs, again, are together in our strong Tadasana. Both knees are going to bend slightly here. And then we're going to take our eagle arms wide. Our chest lifts. Palms are pointing down. Thumbs are pointing forward. I want you to pick up your left leg and cross it over the right. Toes can catch on the block or wrap around the calf. So if, again, right, you don't like the block, just get it out of the way. So the right arm now is crossing top, and we get that nice twist. So there is a lot going on in eagle here. It's balance pose, internal hip rotation. We're really stretching the shoulders and the upper back. We're really stretching the right hip. So I'm going to come out of it for a moment, but I want you to stay in it. If you notice that your hips are tilting and it wants to tilt towards the leg that's on top, keep your pelvis square. So your little hip bones are in one line here. Try not to go one way or the other. To make it more challenging, sink deeper. To make it less challenging, come out of it a little bit more. And don't squeeze yourself to death. If you were going to hug your best friend, that is the pressure I want you to apply to this pose. Okay, one more breath. And then fly away. And then instead of shaking out that leg because it's tired, just be present with it. Let that blood flow come back. Notice how good it feels. A nice mouth exhale after a squeezy pose like that is always nice. Good. Legs return together. We bend the knees softly as the arms, the wings stretch out wide. This time the right leg, if you're using the block, make sure it's on the left side this time. Right leg crosses over, left arm crosses over. And we apply that gentle, loving hug pressure to our own body, taking it to the level that's appropriate for you. Notice the foot that's flat and supporting you, and breathe. Good. Inhale, fly away. Let that blood flow return to that left thigh, back to the shoulders, back to Tadasana. Breath in, breath out. Great job. Okay, hands to waist. And we're going to separate the feet nice and wide, about 3.5 feet, maybe 4. Toes pointing forward. We're coming into Warrior 2. And I think extended side angle. I haven't decided yet. Okay, so right leg opens all the way to the right, left toes in. If you have a mirror or something in your house you can use, or just look down. Your front heel should be intersecting your back foot. I know that seems like a really easy thing, but oftentimes I find that I always have to correct. I always have to correct that alignment. All right, so notice if your front leg here is starting to kind of open already to the right. I want you to pull it more in so that like your thigh, knee, shin, ankle, middle, 2 toes are in like one nice line. So we're keeping that leg nice and engaged. Same thing back here. Back leg is like a kickstand. Inhale, those arms wide, looking over the right arm. Inhale, breathe in and lengthen. Exhale, release the front knee, bend the front knee. What does release the knee even mean? Bend the knee while keeping the weight pushing into the back leg and keeping this leg trying to bend to 90 degrees. You feel that inner thigh strength here. Are you activating through your toe mounds? Is your chest lifted? Good, the shoulders aren't up here towards your ears. Soften the face. Good, cup your front palm like you're gonna catch rainwater. And then inhale, like you're showering that rainwater down on top of you for reverse warrior. The legs really don't change much here. And then inhale, back to warrior 2. Inhale, keep the arms wide. We're just going to change legs. Left leg opens completely, right toes a little bit, 45-ish degrees. Looking over the left arm first. Look down at that left leg. Make sure it's not opening or rotating to the left. Rotate it more in line. And exhale, bend. Bend the knee and push weight into the back leg. Find the joy in this posture. Find joy in the challenge of that left thigh, those shoulders heating up. Steady gaze. Cup the palm for rainwater. Inhale, shower it over you. And back to warrior 2, pause, and inhale, and relax. Maybe a nice shoulder roll here. Let's heel toe the feet to slightly wider than hip distance. Preparing for squatting as we come down to the ground for seated work. Hands in namaste, thumbs to sternum, sternum lifts back. Give yourself a couple breaths here. You can close the eyes as we acknowledge the ending of our standing sequence today. And acknowledging that the energy comes down a little bit as we go into seated work. So take a breath in. I want you to take those hands all the way up overhead. And as you exhale, slowly come into your squat, bringing the hands down with you. You may find your stance is a little wide, mine is, so I gotta walk the knees a little closer together. Good. Block under rear end always if you need that support. High squat here is another option for squatting if you're not ready to get down to the ground yet. If you're here with me, remember we're working against gravity here. So push out of those heels a bit so we lift. Elbows open the knees, knees push back. Heart lifts, collarbones feel broad. And gaze at a spot on the floor. Great. Release your hands to support you as you lower the butt all the way to the ground and extend the legs out in front and give us a little, how do you do with your legs here? And a breath out. Whew. All right. I'm going to turn to the side so that I can use the length of my mat. You may want to have your yoga strap handy for some of these forward bends that we're about to do. For now, I want you to sit in Dandasana, which is staff position. So that means it's like a seated staff position, so we're engaged from head to toe. So the first thing I like to do here is roll flesh off the sit bones and then go down to the feet and engage, flexing the toes back, legs push into the ground. Roll the shoulders back, plant your hands beside your hips, push down as though you're trying to lift up, but really I only want your chest to lift. Exhale, tuck that chin in towards the heart center, so you're gazing down at your lap. And breathe in this staff position for a moment, enjoying the stretch in the back of the neck. Good. Inhale, lift the head. Now we can unfurl our strap for Pashimotanasana. Seated forward bend. Remember, if you're not using a strap, that's okay. If you are, remember not to death grip it here. Strap goes on the tops of your heels, and we just give a gentle pull so we feel engaged. And then on your inhale, lift your heart again, broad collarbones here. Imagine that light on your chest that you don't want to diminish. Exhale and fold. I didn't fold very far in mine because, again, I'm kind of babying my right hamstring. It's okay. The pose done correctly and thoughtfully is all that matters. It doesn't have to be the fullest final expression of the posture. Legs are still engaged. Think Dandasana here with a fold. Gaze at the toes. Breathe. Even if you'd like to give yourself a little baby bend in the knees, that's allowed too. It actually makes my hamstring feel a lot better. Good. As you inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up into alignment and release the strap for a moment. And then we're going to take the legs wide, but before you do that, we're going to do it in a special way. So I'm just shifting again so I don't run into my wall. So again, Dandasana, this is the foundation for so many of our seated postures. So flexing that foot, hands at the waist, pick up the right leg, open it out, and do the same thing with the left. And then hands behind you so you roll forward on the sit bones a little. Feels a little more comfortable. Grab your strap again. It can also be done without the strap. You might have less strap to work with here to hold. Do your best. So inhale and exhale. The legs are immobile. Like the toes are flexing back, the knees and toes are pointing up. They don't roll in or out. And in fact, so I don't really like the strap for me for this pose. You might not either. You might actually prefer to have hands bracing you as you kind of come into this fold. But again, with the folds here, the heart shining forward as we lower down and use the breath in the posture. Okay. Some of you more experienced, more flexible might be able to grab the feet. It's not a better version of the pose. It's just something that suits your body perhaps. Breathe. Just be kind to those inner thighs and your hamstrings. So if they're feeling a little overstretched, just back off a little. Good. Use your breath. Come on up. Keep the left leg out. I want you to bend the right leg in. Plant it on the inner thigh. So, all right, I was get turned around on this one. So we're looking down at our right ankle. All right, I want you to grab the right ankle with your left hand. And then your left elbow is kind of heading towards your left thigh as like a little shelf. We're already in this little bit of a lean. Keep that leg strong. With your right arm here, like you're going to fan something away from you. Inhale and open. Twist. Lovely lateral stretch here. Side stretch for the spine. And then as you inhale, we kind of come up and come back into alignment. We're going to take that right hand and place it right behind our butt, fingers pointing away. And as we inhale, now the left arm is going to fan away. As we lift up into that wild thing, little back bend, doesn't have to be 100%. Okay. And exhale, we lower down with control. Great job. Right leg goes back to wide V, left foot comes in, right hand takes left ankle, right elbow leans on right thigh, and we twist towards the bent leg. So we're opening up the front of the body towards the bent leg. Inhale, left arm, big swoop up. And of course, if it doesn't feel good to get the arm over the shoulder, just keep it at the hip. You can still maintain your twist. So feel grounded in your butt here. Don't start to let gravity pull you down or back. Keep the integrity of your posture. Use your breath. And then inhale. Come up. Left hand plants behind us. Right arm helps lift us up into wild thing. Feels great, hopefully. Feels like a celebration here of this pose, and we lift up, and then exhale, we come down. We're almost done. So take that left leg back to wide V, and we're gonna get out of this pose the same way, lifting those legs in for hip work, and then bending the knees for Navasana. Let's get a little core conditioning in today. I did this in my morning class, and I can almost sensibly, see the dread on people's faces sometimes, because Navasana is a challenging core pose. It's not one that we always cheer about. So all the more reason to do it. All the more reason to do it and celebrate being in this body, because it can do hard things. So that slight C curve in the spine, right? Feels like you're kind of tucking a shirt in, tucking your tailbone back there. I always like to start with my hands under my knee pits here as a reminder to keep the legs together and to keep my heart reaching towards the thighs. And then the legs lift and the arms point forward. So fingers point forward, thumbs point forward, toes point forward. So this is sort of a modified Navasana here. If you like the full enchilada and want to point those toes, that does not feel good for my low back. So I opt for this. This is just as powerful. So let's breathe. Focus. And I want you to exhale, sort of cross at the ankle, plant your hands. You're rolling forward, lifting the butt, and sort of arching over. It's a little reset from the Ashtanga tradition of yoga. So we're going to go right back in to Navasana. We're going to do 3. Keep breathing. Fingers and toes pointing forward, heart always reaching towards the thighs, towards the knees. Exhale. You can skip the little lift up part here. It's okay. In a moment, we'll do upward facing dog and it will feel amazing for your abs. Okay, last one, make it your best. Keep everything engaged, legs together, squeezing together. And the more you sort of lower the toes here, the more easier it becomes. So if you start to feel strain in the low back, take that route. All right, guys. So as we lift up here, watch carefully or listen carefully. We lift up, we're going to follow that through to completion and turn it into plank. Nice transition again from Ashtanga Yoga. Shift forward, lower down, go to the belly or chaturanga. Props in the way here. Inhale, let's return to our cobra. How does that feel on the back? Hopefully great. Exhale, lower down. Come on back to downward facing dog. And from this down dog, I would like for you to lower to your forearms and create Dolphin Pose. So your heels are probably going to lift more than they do in downward facing dog. Your forearms are again the number 11. And the weight is forward into the forearms, so the elbows and shoulders in one line. Head is heavy. Work on walking the feet in and lowering the heels. This is our upper body strengthener for the day and a lovely inversion. Don't let gravity drag you down. Keep pushing. Keep pushing, keep breathing. And then walk the feet to the back of the mat as you lower the belly down. Sphinx. I promised an upward facing dog, but we're also going to get Sphinx to stretch those abs after Navasana and just to return to the low back here. Good. Exhale, lower the body down. Reach the arms behind your back, interlace fingers, forehead to the mat, toes reach back. Shalabhasana, Locust Pose. So as we inhale, I want you to think about, again, shining the sternum forward instead of yanking the head back. So as you inhale, push the pubic bone down and lift. I know it feels sometimes not satisfying because we feel like we should be lifting up super duper high. That is not the goal of this pose. We lift up just a little, enough to shine the upper body off the mat. Reaching those arms behind you. And then exhale, release hands, turn one head, turn one head. Turn your head to one side and rest really fully, like let the shoulders hang. And we'll come back. We're going to do that one more time. Forehead rests, legs reach back, gather the fingers together. Inhale. Shine the sternum forward. This time, if you'd like, you can reach those legs into the air. But again, we're not bowing up. We're lengthening. So think about a unicorn here. You're shooting energy out of your unicorn and you're reaching through your big toes. Breathe. And exhale. Turn your other cheek. Push yourself up. Just make your way onto your back. Okay. Inhale. Squeeze that right leg in towards the armpit. And then switch. And switch. And switch. And then both. Bring both knees in, roll up. Give yourself a squeeze. And then after the squeeze, you kind of hook ankles here, hands on your knees like a steering wheel. And rotate. So this feels really nice for the low back and the tops of your glutes. Lovely. Let the left leg go long, right knee stays in. This is very gentle. Just guide that right knee over as far as you can. Hopefully you're not like me running into a wall. Right arm reaches off to the side as we look over that arm. These should always feel supportive, pleasant, releasing. Good. Come back to center. Let's balance our body out. Left leg in and over. Twist. Feel that lovely twist in your spine. Good. Come back. You're always welcome to do Yogi's Choice. If you feel like you need to like give yourself an extra like 10 seconds of something, like a happy baby maybe, baby, right? We want to get that extra hip stretch in. Please do so. Do so with intention and celebration in your heart. It feels good to move our body and do challenging things. And then we're going to stretch the legs long like two logs, and they just flop away from one another. The arms at a little V shape also, not touching the body. Or not touching the body. Palms shine up and the fingers, just no effort here. The fingers just naturally kind of curl inward towards the palms. And if you need to take a second here and clear your mat of props, please do so. So this is more for your, mental relaxation. Because if your props are crowding you, something's touching your leg or arm the whole time, right? Your mind is going to be focused on that. So if you have socks or a sweater you want to put on, maybe a little soft eye pillow to block out whatever light you've got, do so. Close your eyes. Give yourself a couple mouth exhales. It's a nice quick way to release tension from the body. And since this is a virtual practice, a lot of people don't want to do this in person because it's silly, or they think it's silly. But you can do it because you're by yourself. So when you inhale, puff out your cheeks. So you take a big breath, puff out the cheeks. And then you pop the air out like a balloon. It's a really nice way to not just like relax quickly, but it releases tension from the face. So you can see why maybe people feel a little silly doing that in the room, but it's effective. So you might want to like shift the head here a couple times, find your ideal resting position, and then body sweep from head to toe, flower petal eyes very softly closed, space in the back teeth, tongue heavy in the bottom of the mouth, ears feeling like they're sliding towards the ground, shoulders melting back, cheeks sliding back. So the breath returns to soft, natural inhales and exhales. You have done enough. No more muscular or mental effort is required. All you really need to do here is breathe. And just notice what you see on the backs of your eyes. And that black space is really not black. There's shapes and patterns and colors. See what comes up. Notice maybe the cool air in the room you're in on the skin. Notice distant sounds. The feel of your clothing on your body. And notice each point on the back of your body that is in contact with your mat. And think of each of those points as a little weight pulling you down, grounding you. So the next time that you naturally exhale, think about those weights getting a little heavier and a little heavier. Just notice if the mind has wandered. Bring it back to your breath and gently let the palms find your abdomen. Right there at sort of belly button level. Your solar plexus. Breathing in, we'll breathe into that chakra, that energy center in the core of your body where your power, personal power resides. Not power in an authoritative, mean, bad way, but your personal confidence. Breathing into that energy center, activate it. And then whatever hand is on the bottom, frog jump over the other hand and let it land in your heart. That heart chakra, that heart center. It's an energy center. Breathe into the heart. Feel that love for yourself, for others, compassion. Now the other hand that's on the bottom, frog jump, and let it gently land right at your throat, the throat chakra. The energy center that governs our speech, the ability to express ourselves. So take a breath into that throat chakra. And then you can gently rub your palms together here just to create a little bit of heat. And then I want you to cup your eyes with your palms. You're not mashing your poor little eyeballs, so cup the palms and just feel that darkness. Meanwhile, your fingers are sort of resting at your third eye, right in the forehead, your inner eye of wisdom. And then from here, let the arms just reach into infinity, all the way over the head and reach the toes. And while your arms are long, go ahead and roll to the right. Use that bottom arm as a pillow. Other arm is bracing you so you don't face plant. You can even let that top leg sort of brace you too. This is like Shavasana part 2, where we really waking up the body from our rest, acknowledging how we feel from practice, breathing in and out. Soften everything in the body. And then using our arms and legs and whatever else we need to, we push ourselves up to seated. Come back to Sukhasana with me, different seat than we began in, that simple cross-legged position. The arms, with the spine nice and tall. We do bring the palms together in front of the heart. We breathe in and acknowledge the closing of our physical asana practice. But we also acknowledge that we can take our yoga, which is not just a physical practice, off the mat and into the world the rest of the day, and making other people's days brighter because of our own efforts. And in that way, we share yoga with them. So thank and honor yourself for doing this yoga practice today. I hope that you have found something to celebrate in your life, in your body with this practice. And if you weren't feeling great at the beginning, I certainly hope that you are now. Thank you, my friends, as always, for joining me. I will see you in the next practice. Namaste.